Haven't done this in a while. Okay. Hello, check. Check 1 2. Check. Do you wanna write me a check for $500,000? You know, just so I can retire and do whatever I want. Okay, check 1 2. Everything's good, everything's fine. Nice. It's recording. Super cool. Okay, hey everyone, welcome back. So, recently I just watched Maniac Cop, and by recently I mean just like yesterday, and I just went to sleep, so right now I just woke up and that's why I look like this way. Anyways, so I watched a movie called Maniac Cop. This is a movie from 1988. It's a very interesting movie. It's usually held up to a standard of a cult classic horror film, which is very interesting because when I watched this film, it actually was more like a action thriller B-movie more than a horror. At least I didn't get much horror out of it. This is very interesting because in today's day and age, this doesn't seem to be much of a horror film. But back then, yeah, this was most probably just a lot more horror. Another interesting thing about the movie is that it reminded me a lot of Halloween, which is another movie I've watched. Maybe I will make a review on it pretty soon, but let's get into this movie. Okay, the story in Maniac Cop is basically there's this cop that goes loose. He goes around killing people, and there's a detective by the name of Frank McCree that is described to be kind of a depressing man. You know, he doesn't have a lot of friends. I mean, his partner was killed recently, so he tried to actually kill himself, which that fucking sucks. And this detective McCree, he gets on the case of trying to find out who is the mysterious cop that goes around killing people basically. And this cop, he doesn't apparently have a reason to kill anyone. Like, it's a very weird case, and this is only the base storyline. There's a subplot that's going on meanwhile, which is a subplot of our, I think he's the main protagonist because, well, you know, because the stuff that happens. There's another cop by the name of Jack Forrest. He's in a very bad relationship with his wife. He's cheating on her, telling her that he's on the job, but he goes out and the Maniac Cop coincidentally actually kills when he's out. So the wife gets suspicious that, hey, it might be my boyfriend that is doing all the killings, and so she follows him, ends up dead. That's not a spoiler because that's in the trailer, and that's basically the first 20 minutes of the film, and she gets killed. So now actually Forrest gets convicted of her murder. So while Detective McCree is trying to find who is this cop, Jack Forrest is also trying to find out, well, who set him up. And this way they have kind of the same goal, so they get along very well. And yeah, that's as much as I'm gonna say about the story. Now, about the story, this is a horror film, so I gotta talk about the kills. I think that the kills were pretty tame. I don't think that they were very out there. They were not very explicit. They were not too graphic. It was, as I said, it's kind of like a action thriller, not too much horror, a little bit of a mystery. But with a little spark of Michael Myers and Halloween. So that's an interesting combination in my opinion. And yeah, about the story I can say that it got me hooked. It held me through the whole movie. I was very interested. I don't know if it was just me. I haven't watched any of these B movies in a recent memory, so I'm a little bit more lenient to like it. I don't know if that was the case, but I actually really enjoyed this film, and I enjoy B-movies in general, so that can be another factor. But as I said, the story I think is great. It does enough to keep you hooked, and it's not too wild, so it doesn't go off the rails absolutely crazy. There is a mystery, there is a reason why he's coming back, the Maniac Cop, and he's not some supernatural creature yet, so yeah, at least at this point they don't explain him to be this absolute supernatural being. I don't know if I should say how the Maniac Cop became the Maniac Cop, because that's in the movie, but it's a movie from 88. Like, would you even care if I spoil it nowadays? Anyways, let's continue on with the acting. And the acting in this film, even from Bruce Campbell. I know Bruce Campbell from Spider-Man and him being in so many films. And Evil Dead, I haven't watched it, but I'm gonna get to it. Bruce Campbell, I don't think he did a very good job. The guy has openly spoken about how bad this movie is apparently, which I don't think so. It's an okay film. Now about the acting of the other cast, I think most of them did a pretty good job. Well, it's a very B-movie acting, you know. It's not a super extremely overacted dramatic. It kind of feels like they were doing a low-budget film. That's how it felt. And as I said, the acting is very 80s, a little bit theatrical, but not too theatrical. I think the acting did its job. I mean, I said it multiple times, this is a B movie, so if you dive into it expecting a Hollywood-esque story and acting and everything, you're gonna get disappointed. Next up is actually the music. The music in this film is really good. I really enjoyed it. I love the 80s vibes, the synths. The only thing I didn't like was the main theme. I thought it was way too slow. I thought it was like, it felt like Hunger Games for some reason. I don't know if I can play. I'm gonna try to play it for you. I don't know, I didn't feel the vibe of the theme for the Maniac Cop. I thought that it was a very generic, let's try to be Friday the 13th kind of vibe. Friday the 13th was much more menacing. This is like so mellow and so, I don't know, I just didn't feel like Maniac Cop should deserve this kind of theme song. But whatever, like probably there's a lot of people in the cult following of this film that actually think that this theme is absolutely banger, and I wouldn't actually blame them for them. For me, most of the music was pretty good, but only this theme song, I don't think that it fits very well with the theme of Maniac Cop going on the loose, trying to kill a lot of people, you know. Anyways, okay, another thing I want to talk about is the cinematography of the film. I thought that it was pretty good. The cinematography, it didn't make me feel like it was a low budget film. It was shot very well, and even for an 80s film, I think it was shot pretty good. Yeah, I don't have any reasonable critiques on the cinematography of the film basically. So let's go, and overall I'm gonna give you an opinion on the film. Overall, I think that Maniac Cop is a great action B-movie mystery type of thriller. I don't think of it as much of a horror film per se, because I don't really think that there's enough to make me scared of the Maniac Cop. It's more like, yo, he's a badass, and if he catches me, he's gonna fucking kill me. It's crazy how overpowered he was, although he was explained to not be supernatural. Like, he's not Michael Myers, he's not Jason Voorhees, but they also did this, oh, I shot him in the head 2 times and he didn't move. Like, what? And you try to explain that he's not supernatural. It kind of feels like the direction of Maniac Cop himself. They didn't know if they wanted him to be like a Jason Voorhees or they just wanted him to be a regular person. So that's kind of a bummer. Overall, the movie, I think it's really great. There's one set piece at the finale of the film that is absolutely bonkers. I love that fight scene. It's so good. The final stunt in this film, I was like, whoa, they did that for real. Like, you know that back in the 80s they did that shit for real, and I'm gonna show you just a small clip of the whole stunt. That thing is crazy, bro. That thing is absolutely something that I did not expect from this film. When I saw it, I was like, yo, this guy is flying. This guy right there, he's flying, bro. Oh my god. I actually really loved it because it was such a cool climax that through the whole film they're building up like, oh, he's super strong, super hard, he can break through doors, he can throw you off a fucking window. And at the end there's like this stunt flying off into the ocean. Like, what the hell? That was absolutely phenomenal. I love it, bro. Anyways, overall, I'm gonna give Maniac Cop maybe the score of 7 out of 10. I am a little bit like wondering if I should give it a 7 or an 8, but to be honest, I think that there was enough of bad accompanying the good that I think it's more of a 7 out of 10. And yeah, it's a B movie. I don't think everyone will enjoy this film. It's kind of a niche film in my opinion, so yeah, that's a bummer. But in my opinion, it's a really good film. It gets a thumbs up for me, and I think that it was a very enjoyable experience. So now we obviously have 2 more sequels, and that is apparent just by the final scene of the movie, because, well, sadly, they couldn't find the body of Maniac Cop. So we're gonna find out what happens to him in the next video. If you think that you might enjoy this B-movie action thriller kind of mystery, go watch Maniac Cop. It's pretty good, in my opinion. Okay, maybe give it an 8 out of 10. I don't know, man. I'm new to this review stuff, you know. I have done it for a lot of years back, but right now this channel is a new one, so doing it in worldwide aspect is kind of like a little bit more weird, you know. And yeah, I'm shooting on a very old camera just so I can get in the vibe of the 80s, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. Sorry if the video quality sucks. The next video will be fine. I promise. I promise it will be better. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, honestly, I didn't want to speak too much about the Maniac Cop himself, but I gotta be honest, Robert Zdar, bro, that fucking jaw, oh my god, this guy has such a memorable face. I can't even explain it. Like, when you see his face, it's so 1 in 1 million. It's so phenomenal. Like, and the Maniac Cop having his face to be like the center is absolutely amazing. I didn't want to spoil too much about the Maniac Cop. Maybe we'll talk more about it in the next review, but I just have to hand it to him. He did a phenomenal job as the Maniac Cop, and although he didn't speak at all, like, he's absolute silent, he doesn't have a single word to say, just by his appearance with his uniform and his freaking pecs, bro. My god, he's really buff, and that jaw just makes him all around absolutely great. So absolute credits to Matt Cordell and Robert Zdar. He made the role of Matt Cordell so phenomenal and so memorable. And yeah, I just had to add that in. So anyways, the video is over. Have a good one. Don't look at me.